Hi, everyone. Welcome to the ATS 2025 Info Session. Thank you all for being here today. We've got a jam-packed hour ahead, and we can't wait to share it all with you. My name is Steven Velasco. I'm a marketing specialist at Access to Success. So before we begin, just a few housekeeping announcements. So this event will be recorded, and a copy of the event recording will be shared with you following the webinar. Closed captioning is also available on Zoom. You can find that in the menu bar at the bottom of your screen. And lastly, ASL interpretation is also available. So with that, I'll now pass it over to Varun Chandak, founder and executive director of Access to Success.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Stephen. Hi, everyone. This is Varun speaking. I'm the founder and executive director of Access to Success. I'm a South Asian male wearing a gray t-shirt and with a background of blue and orange with the logo of Access to Success. So, as you heard just now, Access to Success is a free global accelerator for accessibility startups. It's a program that is specifically designed for disabilities, including mobility, hearing, vision, cognition, neurodiversity, mental health, aging, rehabilitation. Essentially, if you're building anything that touches upon any of these categories or helps address challenges in any of these categories, everything that we do is for you. And I do mean that. When I say that this program is designed for disabilities, it means that we don't do any generic programming. All the programming, the 40 plus masterclasses that we will provide are tailor-made to topics that are specifically relevant to you, such as inclusive design, co-creation, customer acquisition in the disability space, and so on. We also provide meaningful mentorship from over 200 global disability leaders, innovators, entrepreneurs from around the world who are very, very good at what they do, and they all come and share the time and expertise with you to help you get ready to scale. Similarly, we also provide access to our expansive global network of disability organizations, investors, and other ecosystem members in 5 continents. We provide impactful resources that are again tailor-made for you, such as the Accessibility Investments Database, which hopefully you've explored a little bit on our website. If not, I encourage you to check it out. And lastly, we know you need funding to do what you need to do, and so we do provide non-dilutive and restricted cash grants. As I mentioned, we're powered and mentored by over 200 global disability leaders from some of the most well-known companies in the world, some companies that you might have not heard of, some companies that you might have come across and might have not even realized that there's a disability connection, and they all come in and share their expertise with you. We're very fortunate to be funded and supported by a number of partners, including HP, Toyota Mobility Foundation, CIBC, the University Health Network here in Toronto, and so many other organizations. The logo soup that's on the slide right now maybe matters less so, and what matters more is that every single one of these organizations, we work with them because these organizations are committed to helping you scale. We know it's hard to get connections, to get answers, to find the right people in the right organizations, and we try and help you address all of that so you can focus on what's important, which is building scalable disability solutions which can change the world. We are on a mission to enable everyone. We have run 5 cohorts since 2019. This will be our 6th one. We've worked with 60 startups from 6 countries. These companies have gone on to raise over $35 million in funding, and they have generated over $24 million in revenue so far. And as you heard, we've benefited over 1.1 million people with disabilities to date, and we are well on track for our startups to go on and support over 2 million people by 2027. And with that overview, let's go into what to expect for ATS 2025. So this year, the program will run from August to November 2025. It will be 4 to 5 hours per week of time commitment. And given that we are based out of Toronto, the programming will take place primarily in EST business hours with some minor exceptions. So we know we might have a lot of people from joining around the world. We've had people join from Australia, from Africa, from Germany, and everyone makes an effort to be there at a time that works for the most number of people in the room. So we try and be flexible where we can. And the format of this programming will be primarily master classes, peer-based learning, because you will learn a lot from your cohort members themselves, and one-on-ones with the ATS team and I. And as I think I've mentioned a few times now, this program is virtual first in that everything primarily takes place virtually. We do have some in-person programming in Toronto that I will talk about in a moment. And I think I might have seen a question come in, and I'm keeping an eye on the questions. And so I will get to the questions at the end of this session today. We'll have plenty of time for us to go over all of the questions. All right, so let's keep going with the eligibility criteria. So to be eligible for the program, you must demonstrate that you have an MVP, a minimum viable product. You must demonstrate co-design, meaningful co-design with the disability community, and you must demonstrate that you have validated your problem or your solution in some capacity. And the program itself is open to worldwide startups. Now, the program is primarily designed for for-profit startups, but we do work with nonprofits as well on a case-by-case basis. If you're a nonprofit, I will mention that one, you must have something that can generate a revenue model. It's okay if you're still trying to figure out what that revenue model is, but there must be a potential for a revenue model. If you have doubts, if you're a nonprofit, if you have questions, if you're not sure, you're always welcome to reach out. We'll share some information about how to contact us in a minute. New in ATS 2025 is some of our specialized streams. So this year, thanks to our partnership with the Toyota Mobility Foundation, we have added a new active mobility stream, which essentially means startups that are working on the intersection of mobility and independence will get added specialized support through our partnership with the Toyota Mobility Foundation. Similarly, as an extension to something we added last year, we have a digital equity stream, which is for startups that are working towards equitable access to the digital economy for people with disabilities. This might mean that you're creating new innovations that allow people to access the digital world. It may be innovations that make the existing digital world more accessible. Or it might even just be new ways to engage with the digital world, such as alternative augmented communication devices. And the last new stream here is the future of work stream, which means that any startups that are building trainings or tools that support employment or employment and career progression for people with disabilities. Most importantly, you don't have to worry if you feel like you don't fit neatly into any one of these, because all of these three streams fit on top of our general stream, and you will get all the benefits, including the funding, even if you're in the general stream. It's just that we have designed some added specific benefits and resources for these three specific streams. So as I mentioned, we will have funding available for any startup across the entire program. Our total grant pool is $50,000. Our expectation is that it will likely be about $5,000 Canadian per startup, split across the participants. Not every participant may necessarily get the funding, and why that is my next slide, which is the demo day. So the demo day is the culmination of the program. It takes place at the end of the 3-month virtual program. It takes place in a pitch competition format. So all of the participants, all of the startups that will go through the program will have the opportunity to pitch to a panel of judges, and the best performers in that pitch competition receive the funding. This demo day is a flagship event of ours that is typically attended by well over 300 people, both in person and virtually. And the audience includes investors as well as industry leaders, both from the corporate world as well as the disability world. And we've seen a fair number of success stories already where our participants ended up receiving investments, revenue generating partnerships, new opportunities that they heard about during the demo day. This year, the demo day will take place in November 2025, and while the rest of the entire program is virtual, we highly recommend making every effort possible to attend the demo day in person. The deadline for application is June 30th, so you've got plenty of time. We'll share all of this. This whole recording will be shared online on YouTube, so you don't have to worry about taking notes. It will be available. My team and I will also be available for questions. We'll share our contact information, and you can reach out to us if you have any questions. And let me just take a look at the time. We're doing really well on time, so that's great. And so with that, we are going to move into the next phase of today's info session, which is a panel with some of our participants from the prior years of ATS. And I'm just going to add them here to the screen. And there we go. So it is my great pleasure to welcome three dear friends of mine, Juan Olade, who is the co-founder and CEO of Digitally Accessible, Mal Kaforenji, who's the founder and CEO of Baby Zeps, and Rajiv Ramnath, who's the founder and CEO of Blueberry Technologies. I'm going to stop screen sharing now and focus on our amazing speakers here. So why don't we begin with a quick round of introductions? Juan, let's begin with you. Please tell us a little bit about yourself and your startup.
Thank you so much, Varun. So it's a pleasure to be here. My name is Juan Olarte. I'm originally from Colombia, but I've been in Canada for the last 25 years. I'm visually impaired myself, so I know what inaccessible content means to people with disabilities. And really, for the last 20 plus years, I've been concentrating and focusing in terms of accessibility and technology. And my company, Digitally Accessible, will help organizations integrate accessibility into the development lifecycle with software, services, and subscriptions.
Thank you. And let's go to Mel.
Hi, I'm Melissa Kifuriji. I'm so happy to be here. I'm also an Afro-Caribbean woman, and I'm wearing I have to show you guys, my blue Enable Everyone shirt. This is courtesy of the Access to Success program, part of the merch that comes with being part of the program. I started Baby Zips, which is adaptive clothing for children who have GI feeding tubes, limb differences, mobility aids. We make the process of dressing easier and more joyful, and as well as I think there's one more part of the question that is escaping me, but I just wanted to, yeah, I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Mel. And last but very much not the least, Rajiv.
Hi, everyone. Rajiv Ramnath calling in from San Jose, California. I'm a South Asian male working with Blueberry Technology as a founder, where we fundamentally believe that mobility should be accessible to everyone, regardless of your age, your physical ability, or even neurodiversity status. So we are starting with our flagship product. It's called BB Go, which you hopefully see in airports here and there, where we are trying to tackle the challenge of independence and agency in airports for those with limited mobility. So we're starting with limited mobility and working our way through the mobility spectrum. But our first product is a robotic, for lack of a better way of saying it, a robotic wheelchair. But we prefer to call it a personal mobility vehicle. So that's us. Thanks, Varun. It's great to be here.
Fantastic. As you can hopefully note, folks, this is a very wide range of businesses that are represented here, and that's deliberate. That's sort of intended to show that we actually work with any kind of business. It doesn't matter what exactly you're building. It might be a hardware, software, a hybrid model. It might be even a service. It doesn't matter. If it's something that connects people with disabilities, we want to listen to you. Now, folks, why did you choose to participate in ATS? You spent 3 months of your time with us. Why did you do that? What kind of support did you need at the time you came to us? Let's go in reverse order this time, beginning with Rajiv.
That is so unfair, Varun, to make me go first. Uh, I was hoping I would have followed somebody's footsteps. Uh, Fundamentally speaking, we have built our product, all our user experience work, all our accessibility needs work has been done with service providers, with airports, with airlines, with some folks in that community, meaning in the PRM community, people or persons with restricted mobility, where and we're slowly having success over there. Where we saw ourselves hitting a wall is to go beyond this one vertical, right? To go beyond the airport space, to actually include individuals in the disability community in our, call it user space, call it uh, user research. And we weren't able to get that much traction, partly because in the COVID world, it was easy to ignore a cold email. That's all it took. And there was no physical interaction. So we had hit a wall in trying to grow beyond just airports, or even including the disability community in our airport research. So those were challenging, where we thought we could get a good head start, if you may, to shift us from gear one to gear two. We needed that little clutch, right? And that clutch was ATS for a whole host of reasons. The primary one being that it is truly inclusive. If you need any proof, anybody on this call, go back if you can to that one slide that Varun had put up where I think there were three pillars: active mobility, digital equity, and future of work. But then ATS Labs presented this catch-all that, hey, everybody's welcome. It's truly inclusive. It is not designed for, hey, robotic companies or, hey, low vision products or, hey, hard of hearing product. It's everyone. It's that inclusivity that was very attractive, at least to Blueberry. And you guys delivered above and beyond, Varun. Am I missing something?
No, I mean that was very kind. Thank you, Rajiv. I was trying to find my unmute button. Juan, go ahead.
Thank you, Varun. So, starting a company is never easy. I'm a first-time founder. There's so many things I don't know. Before ATS Lab, I went to other accelerators. Now, the big difference is that we're very niche in what we do. While we try to utilize technology in terms of software or AI, we are niche. There's so many things we don't know. And so we actually hit a wall in terms of what and how we can actually approach different companies or what will be the best strategies. With ATS Labs, we actually got access to a are like a huge network and like that do exactly what we do in terms of accessibility, digital accessibility, and we're able to magnify our content delivery. So that's one of the things, and then also the support we're getting, as indicated before, like how inclusive the whole experience is really important for me, especially knowing that I have a disability and there's going to be other people that we want to be able to impact. The whole mission for ATS Labs was fantastic. So access to the network and being able to grow within our niche.
Thank you. Go ahead, Mel.
You both covered so much. What I will add is when I started, basically, I was focused more on direct to consumer sales. So I was really doing pop-up shops and selling online. And when I joined the ATS Labs, I needed that community, but also that space where, as Juan said, it's a very unique program. So joining the ATS Labs for me, it was really being in the accessibility space, which was really helpful in terms of learning how to word certain things. Like instead of like referring to users or patients, like instead of using those type of words, we use the word champions. Like it was really helpful in reframing just the everyday language, but also just creating the community of support that was there. So now with the support of ATS, like now we've been able to expand beyond direct to consumer to forming B2B partnerships. So that's been a huge change and a huge support that I gained through the ATS program, along with some other things.
Thank you. All right, so you touched upon quite a few things, all three of you, including one thing I want to emphasize very quickly is the scaling component, the B2B component. So that tends to happen with a lot of the startups who come to us in terms of the co-design piece as well. We focus and spend a lot of time on inclusive design principles and co-design principles to help you understand, okay, you might be starting off from one area of visibility or one specific use case, but how do you expand to multiple use cases, adjacent markets, so that you can actually grow your scalability? So you touched upon a lot of things here, but can you tell us, in a few words, what did you find to be the single most valuable component of ATS? Juan, Mel, and then Rajiv. Go ahead.
Thank you so much. So again, to me, it's going to be the access to the network and people who were actually within every single session, being able to learn from them. One thing is you trying to understand what are some potential challenges you're going to have when trying to scale, but the other one is really trying to understand or see what other people have gone through. I can say, like, while we were doing the accelerator, there were like three specific sessions that were impactful for us. Not only because we could see some of the struggles they had to go through, and at that point we were going through some of those ones as well, and how they were able to keep going, but also try to learn from it. So big portion for us was being able to learn from somebody else's experience and then be able to apply it to our business and see what we could do to improve or scale from that.
And just like Juan said, I was going to say the same thing, the people. It was really definitely the network because you get access to real life experiences, like people who are actually in this accessibility space who get it. I don't know about a lot of people on this call, but I feel like sometimes entrepreneurship can be very isolating and it's very hard to meet other people who are in that network who understand the accessibility space, who understands that it's not just a niche market, it's a need market. Like it's something that has been so helpful is yes, the guest speakers, but my cohort as well, learning from everyone in that space. It's the community is just on so many different levels that you get to learn with the real life examples, real practical. Like there are so many quotes that I've wrote down in my notes. So if there are any note takers in the call, you will also be capturing a lot of notes as well because there's so many golden nuggets that you get, and even the workshops as well, like the art of pitching. I have never seen pitching in such a science before, like how it comes together in this program. You will learn how to pitch in different environments, how to keep it dynamic and interactive, and there's just so much that you get from here.
There's nothing for me to add, but
Sorry.
you did ask what was the one thing that stood out. Yes, it's the community. Yes, it's the cohort. Yes, it's the network. But like Juan and Melissa said, it's finding that camaraderie in this community. Yeah, it is definitely isolating. It is definitely slow. You see your other entrepreneur friends raising money just literally with slides. And here you are busting your chops for years on end. And raising capital becomes very difficult. Finding a team member becomes very difficult. And you realize that, hey, not only my cohort, even the speakers that come on the call, they are down to earth. They are absolutely humble and honest and tell you what the challenges are. So to realize that there is a larger world out there that is the same boat as you are, and they're doing fine. I think that is the most important thing, that in spite of all the struggles you might have, which seem insurmountable, that too passes. And there is a community out there that you can reach out to. You can grab your beverage of choice with anybody on those calls. Every single one of the speakers the ATS Labs had were super quick to say, here's my email address, reach out to me. And the dum-dum that I am, I would. And they always responded. What are the chances of that? So, and these are big names in the community. So I think that network, that community, that camaraderie, that inclusion, I think was my biggest takeaway.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for the kind words there. I will say that just on that note of community, excuse me. Um, I'm so sorry. We hadn't really realized that importance when we first started ATS a number of years ago, and then over the years we added a small little component into the program called Fudge Up Nights. And that session where everybody comes in and shares their fudge ups has probably become one of the most popular and most well attended sessions that we have. So thank you for sharing your stories. But well, that's I think more than enough about ATS. Tell us a little bit more about you folks. How have things grown for you since you graduated from ATS? One, for you, it's been a while. I think it was a few years ago. How are things with your startup now? Tell us about your growth.
Definitely. Thank you so much. I have to say, when you have a startup, you're going to have ups and downs. I have to say, maybe about 2.5 years ago, actually, it's going to be like 3 years ago, we went through a difficult rough patch, where, to be honest with you, we didn't know if we were going to be able to make it. It was very difficult at one point. We had about 18 people working with us, 18, 19 people. We have to let go of pretty much everybody. And at that point, you realize, okay, what did I do wrong? How can I have done things differently? I remember getting into a call with Varun, and just this support. That's something I'm always going to appreciate. It's like, Juan, I'm here to support you, whatever we can do. Um, I'm happy to say that since then we have done a lot better. We actually were able to start producing revenue again. Last year we doubled our revenue. This year we were hoping to double from last year, but it's been that support that we were able to get from a lot of friends. It's one of those things. If you want to get one thing from me is a business. Sometimes it's not going to be easy, but do try to enjoy the journey. Know that you're going to have to encounter difficult portions of it, but everything goes. And as long as you have people or like people like Varun or places like ATS Labs where you're going to be able to get some advice and then try to grow your company, it's going to be really good. So for us, still work in process. There's still, obviously, we have day-to-day issues, but I'm happy to say that we're growing. We're trying to focus the business a little bit different from when we started, and we're happy where we are. And I just want to make sure that people understand that ATS Labs was fundamental for us for our growth. So thank you so much again.
I'm just smiling here because it's very typical of the people who end up in ATS and that they will speak so highly of everybody else, but when it comes to talking about their own successes, they're like, oh, there are day-to-day challenges. Let me just say, one's company, Digitally Accessible, has been doing amazingly well. They've seen a tremendous amount of success at a global stage. And one, I'm just
Thank
really
you.
happy for how far you've come and how far things have grown.
I
Rajiv, go
appreciate
ahead.
that.
Yeah, it's we graduated in 2024, so it's been what, 5 months, maybe 6 months if you start nickel and diming days. So it's not that long a time for me to throw a long list of things that have happened, but uh, it's a list of things that at least we are very proud of. We were awarded the uh, Accessibility Award at the Consumer Electronics Show as part of the Eureka Park program. That was, at least for us, huge. It was a recognition of our commitment to the community. We have executed now two new pilots since, one in the Pittsburgh airport and one literally ongoing right now in the London Gatwick airport. Revenue's trickling in, so that's a good thing. We have added members to the team, which I think hands down is 100% due to ATS, right? I saw Alex on the call, but Alex was instrumental in helping us find someone to fill a very critical ops role. So again, it wouldn't have happened without the ATS labs. Troy, I don't know if he's on the call or not, but Troy was in our cohort from Soul Mobility. He has helped me brainstorm so many things about our product since. And I cannot put a number on it, right? I cannot say, hey, 5x improvement or 12x improvement. But all these, I think, are direct contributions to the ATS labs, which in just these 5 short months, again, are a testament to that network, that community that we built. I'll pause.
I'll just add that for myself. So since, just like Rajiv, I was actually a part of the same cohort, and so it wasn't that long ago. However, since graduating, the one thing I want to start off by saying is that when I was in the cohort, when I first started, I remember being very like timid and small about like my ideas, and someone really brilliant who's on this call had said to me, "Dream bigger." And through seeing everyone else's journey, and I think it might have been Juan or Rajiv that mentioned seeing how everyone shares their stories, like you see the ups and downs through the whole journey. I was able to gain that confidence. I was able to be able to go beyond just as I said, the direct to consumer, like just selling online, to now I'm in the process of securing a partnership with a major hospital in the GTA, which is great, like that B2B partnership that's developed. And that's something that I would not have necessarily been confident enough or even known how to go about pitching in that way to do so. So it was really learning from all the mentors here, and also just being able to become more comfortable and confident in this space. I am a mother to a child with disabilities, specifically neurodivergence and limb differences. And in this space, I felt slightly adjacent to it, but now I feel like I'm really truly a part of a community. I really understand. I really had that perspective, and I'm so grateful because this is a community that you can't just forge on your own. I tried, but when you're here, you're surrounded by people who understand the business aspect of things, and as well as the accessibility component. So those are some of the key things that have happened since. Oh, and as well as I've launched, I've going beyond babies. I've launched XY Zips to encompass older kids and teens, and created some digital resources as well and things like that. So we are growing, and I definitely have to thank ATS for a lot of that growth.
Fantastic. Hey, I'm learning about wins and progresses I wasn't aware about. So congratulations to all of you. That's so great to hear. Last question before we move into the Q&A portion of today's info session, which is for all the entrepreneurs who are listening in here today, who are considering perhaps applying to ATS, what advice would you have for them? Mal, why don't we begin with you this time, and then Rajiv and Juan.
I'm going to keep this short and sweet. So if you want to build something that truly serves people in the accessibility space, this is the place to be. You'll get real insight, you get actionable insight, things that you can actually use in your day-to-day, not the fluff. You're going to get like exactly what you need. So you'll be pushed to think critically, and you will be surrounded by the support that is not just lip service. Like as Rajiv said, everyone responds to the email. So reach out, connect, and the support is there.
Advice. I think I would be remiss to say, bring yourself when you join the ATS labs. Bring your whole self, pluses, the minuses, the difficulties, the wins, the challenges, everything. And you will see that your cohort will respond the same way. So that kind of feedback is just impossible to get anywhere else. Right? The camaraderie, the the directness. I remember one of these calls, we had Rich Donovan on the call, and he hit some points home for all of us that were just absolutely brilliant. Don't build for the disability community. Stop it. Just build a good product. The community is there. The community will use your product. Don't start with stigma. These are kinds of things that you hear the speakers bring, you hear your cohort bring, which you really appreciate because you don't get that in the rest of the world. Everyone has this LinkedIn view of the world where everything is positive, or the Insta view of the world. No, those are for every 500 downs, there may be one up. So bring everything and you will get everything.
I mean, I don't think there's much more for me to say. I fully agree, and I think the most important is really try to be present in every single workshop that you're going to have. Try to learn from the speakers. As I said, we have some fantastic speakers, and they really helped us. And then, if you have any problems, ATS Labs environment is going to be there to help you. So, like, don't be afraid. Just make sure that you bring yourself, enjoy the journey, and just try to build an amazing product. And then people with disabilities are going to be able to recognize that.
Thank you. Words to live by. Juan, Mel, Rodri, thank you so much for joining us today and for sharing your stories and the amazingly kind words for your experience at ATS. I'm so glad that you found this experience at the time here useful and valuable. For the folks here, we're going to move here into the Q&A portion now. Don't worry, our speakers are still around, and if you have any questions for them, you can just drop them in the Q&A. I see there's a hand raised. If I might ask all our participants to please drop your questions into the chat or the Q&A feature, I will make sure that we answer your questions. Okay, so let's go into the Q&A. The first question I have here is, do you have an annual revenue requirement that we prefer applicants to have reached to be eligible for this program? No, we don't have a revenue requirement at all. You don't necessarily have to have revenue to apply. To do a very quick recap of the eligibility, you must demonstrate that you have an MVP, a minimum viable product. You must demonstrate co-designed with the disability community meaningfully. And you must demonstrate some level of validation of your product's problem and the solution. That validation could be in the form of pilots, it could be in the form of IP research, and I mean academic research or clinical research. But there must be some validation that the problem you're trying to solve is real and the solution you're trying to build is meaningful. We do have quite a number of startups, by the way, which come to us having already generated revenues that are already revenue positive. So if you are revenue positive, chances are you will still find a lot of value in the program. The second question I have here is there an opportunity to be part of the ATS cohort and the Mars Mobility Hub cohort, or do they conflict? Great question. So there are a number of other programs that are currently active or were recently active around the world. There is the Mars Mobility Hub, which provides support to active mobility startups. There's the Remarkable Tech Accelerator. In fact, I think if you go to our website, either now or within the next couple of weeks, you will see a section which will talk about all of the other programs that are going to be valuable for you. You should apply to all the ones that are relevant for you. You should definitely not think that you should only apply to one or the other. Apply to all the programs that you think are going to be relevant, and then you can always pick and choose where you decide to end up spending your time. As for doing both ATS and the Mars program concurrently, that's very unlikely to happen because typically ATS startups end up being a part of the Mars program later on. So if you're eligible for the Mars program and you get selected there, you can probably just spend your time there instead of ATS. If you end up in the ATS program, chances are you may be a little bit early for the Mars program. So there's pros and cons. When is the application deadline? June 30th. Can an existing business apply for grants? Yes, I skipped over a word there, but yes, you can absolutely apply. Uh, Talk about what is it that you need help with. It doesn't matter if you are a business that you started 20 years ago. Talk about why do you need this program now? What's new that we can help you with? What exactly is it that you feel we can help accelerate for you? Is there a preference for tech versus human or service-based startups? No preference whatsoever. We've seen several service-based businesses go through the program. Again, you focus on the eligibility criteria and maybe talk a little bit about the scalability potential. I do not mean venture scale. I do not mean that this is, when I say scale, it needs to be that you must be able to attract venture capital. That is not at all what I mean. When I say scale, I just mean that you should be able to benefit a very large number of people with disabilities globally. The hard question, what's the cost? Oh my goodness, if I did not mention this, it's free. Everything we do is free. We do not charge anything. We do not take any equity. There are no strings attached, except if you decide to participate, we ask that you try and make every effort possible to attend every session that we provide. That's the only string that we ask for, and that's because we don't charge anything. Most of our speakers don't charge anything. They spend a lot of time and effort contributing for your success. So it's a matter of respect for everyone's time that you try and make an effort to be present. Is the 4 to 5 hour per week time commitment self-paced, or is it scheduled meetings? It's going to be primarily scheduled sessions. So you will get access to the entire or largely the entire program calendar around the time you get admitted into the program. The programming typically takes place in the mornings, EST hours, because that's just what we found is the best possible time that we could find. But given that it's literally a worldwide program, someone might end up with not the greatest time. So we had somebody from Australia joining last year who would always join in the middle of the night. But it is scheduled meetings. Are nonprofits eligible? Yes. So I touched upon that in the remarks earlier, but nonprofits are eligible. What we ask is that you must have some form of a revenue model, something that you can monetize. It's okay if you're still figuring out the details of the revenue model, but there must be something that you can sell, really. If you have questions about or clarifications, you can always reach out to us. And my colleague will drop our email, our contact email in the chat here for everyone, but it's contact@accesstosuccess.ca. If we are running 2 startups, can we apply for both and have them both be in the program, or is there a limit of 1 per founder? Well, first of all, to whoever is running 2 startups at the same time, my hats off to you. That is an incredible amount of effort. I think you could probably apply for both. We'll have to consider this. This is a little bit of an unusual situation. Maybe you can email us your details and we can figure it out. Innovation technology. What are the key technologies being considered? Anything. It doesn't matter. Whatever you're building, as long as it benefits people with disabilities, works for us. You're eligible for the program. As I touched upon, there are 3 streams on top of the main general accelerator. We've got active mobility, we've got digital equity, and we've got future of work. Once we upload the recording, you can go back and revisit the details of each one of these 3 streams. But as I mentioned, we also have the general stream. So it doesn't matter. It's not like you need to fit into one of these 3 streams. As long as you're building something for people with disabilities, you should apply. We don't have an MVP ready yet, but will the program run again next year? And do you have suggestions for connecting with the co-design communities? You're welcome to apply. We do this every year, so you can always come back and reapply next year. And if you need help, why don't you email us and we can have a call and we can see how we can help outside of the program. Can you define what does it mean co-design with the disability community meaningfully? Good question. We see sometimes there might be students who realize that they want to do something that's impactful for the world, and they decide to, come up with a solution for the disability community, but they don't actually spend any time talking to anyone who would be the end user of this product. That's not okay. That's not really an innovation that's going to work. You must demonstrate in your application how you've engaged with the disability community, with the users, the end beneficiaries of your innovation, how you've collected their feedback, how you've taken their feedback and implemented it into your solution. How do you sort of do that on a continual, ongoing basis? That is what I mean by co-design. Is the program on an yearly basis? Yes, it is. We do this every year, once a year. We are purely B2B business targeting healthcare providers. Would there be good network or potential customer opportunities for us? It depends on the details. Email us, send us what it is that you do. I would say as long as there is a connect, like if the beneficiary of your innovation is the disability community, that'll work. And you will actually get a lot of benefit out of the program because one of the key partners of our program is the University Health Network in Toronto, which is a network of 14 hospitals in the Greater Toronto area and nearby regions. We've also got collaborations with disability groups and healthcare groups all over the world. So as long as there's a disability connection, more likely than not, you will actually find this quite valuable. How many applications do we usually get? Quite a lot. The competition is fairly high, but I would not let that discourage you at all. How many startups will pitch on the demo day on average? Everyone who participates in the program gets to pitch on the demo day. So if you make it, you'll get to pitch. How many companies will be accepted this year? Good question. I would say approximately 15, give or take a few. Is there an option to join the community or mentors, but not in the cohort or programming similar to the community tech model? Good question. I wish I could say yes, but we don't have a formal community outside of the program. That said, we help entrepreneurs regardless of whether they're in the program. Look, we do this because we want entrepreneurs like you to succeed. We don't charge anything. I personally do this because I have disabilities myself, and I have seen personally the life-changing impact of meaningful disability innovation. So if you don't want to participate in the program, that's okay. Email us, we can have a call, we can see how we can help. Obviously, we can't, do a full-fledged support thing outside of the program, but we are always happy to try and see what we can do to help. Organizations who have previously worked with Access to Success, are they eligible to apply, and will our application be considered equivalent to others? Well, if you're still listening, I'm really happy to hear that you're interested in reapplying. Please definitely go ahead and do so. We have seen and accepted repeat applications in the past. What I will ask is you demonstrate what's changed, what's new, what has happened since your last participation, and most importantly, what's the new component that you hope to sort of unlock via your participation again. How do you view or define aging as a focus area? Would aging-related cognitive and functional limitations be considered a part of this? Yes, to the second question. And aging, it's essentially the same thing. Anything that has an impact for the aging community, elderly citizens, if you start applying inclusive design principles to that problem and the solution, more likely than not, there will be implications for the disability community. And as I talked about earlier, we do a lot of work emphasizing expanding to adjacent markets. So if you're building something for aging community, I encourage you to apply, and we can also explore how do we help you scale to even more use cases. And we have, in fact, seen multiple startups participate in the program doing exactly what this question asks about, cognitive and functional limitations. We've supported startups in that area in the past. Somebody asked, I think for a second time, how many people are on this call. I don't know. I have to check that. Thank you for the kind notes there, Kai. And then, do we have fitness professionals within the organization that we can access for mentors? We will have people that you'll be able to benefit from. We, in fact, have had a company that participated on the last program from the UK, which built, at least for at the time, was the world's first app designed for the disability community first. And I would like to believe that they found a lot of good value out of the program. So even if there is a very niche area where we may not have an existing network, our job is to try and help get you the help that you need. So even if you don't know the people, if you may or may not know the people in a particular area, we'll make efforts to go and find those people and make those connections for you. Kent, I'll come back to your question about what got me so passionate later. I think I touched upon it, and that I have disabilities myself, but I want to make sure that people who want to apply, their questions get answered. Do you have any tips for co-design? We are a wearable accessibility product, and we have talked to a few leaders, but it's less than a handful. Fair question. It's more than I can unpack right now. Why don't you email us and we can set up a call and we can share a little bit of tips about co-design. How do you handle ableism in the program? By which I mean, how do you assure a safe space for disabled entrepreneurs in the program sessions? Well, we try and make every effort possible to make this program as inclusive and as flexible as possible. I'm hard of hearing, so I'm relying on live captioning right now. I also have what's called Erb's palsy, a form of partial paralysis in my left arm. So I have lived experiences with those kind of physical disabilities as well. Approximately half of the founders who participate in the program have self-identified in the past as having a disability, including vision loss, hearing loss, chronic illnesses, the whole gamut, really. We have deliberately designed this program with a lot of flexibility, with a lot of intentionality. So whatever it is that you might need so that we can ensure you have an inclusive experience, we encourage you to communicate that to us, and we will go to every length possible to ensure that you have that inclusive experience. What if you only serve at a provincial level? That's totally fine. As long as you can demonstrate scalability to other provinces, to other regions, that's totally fine. I missed a question there. Can you share more about the Toyota Mobility Program? What will be different from last year? There will be a number of new sessions, new programming, new supports, new mentors that will be added this year that we didn't have last year because we just signed this new partnership with the Toyota Mobility Foundation. So the idea is that active mobility startups get a little bit of that added push, an added nudge on top of everything else that the general program already provides. The Toyota Mobility Foundation has also funded $35,000 of the total cash funding that we will provide this year. Okay, I think I can safely skip the last two questions as they don't necessarily relate directly to the program. Kelly, please reach out. We can talk more about what you mean by fundraising projects. And that's, I think, everything. I will pause here for a second for the last 2 minutes if anyone else has any other questions. And as I mentioned, if not, you can always just email us. I understand if people might be hesitant asking questions live. Folks, just send your questions in the chat or the Q&A, please, and I'll make sure that I answer your questions. We may have maybe one answer coming in, one more question coming in. Oh, just a thank you. Oh, okay, great. No questions. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for spending some time with us today. Some last bit of comments coming in if I'm running out of time now, but email me your questions at contact@accesstosuccess.ca, and we'll make sure we get back to you. The applications are due by June 30th, so hopefully you've got plenty of time to apply. Until then, let us know if there's anything else we can do to help. The speakers today, Juan, Mel, and Rajiv, thank you once again, and thank you everybody for joining us today. I'm looking forward to reviewing your applications. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Ron. Thanks, everybody.